This morning I'd like to speak to your heart. I have a question for you because you are an aware being. Perhaps you spend a lot of time on social media. Perhaps you read newspapers or watch television. How can you be in the world but not of the world? My question for you is, how can you wear the world loosely? It's tough right now. It's tough. We have folks in America who are suffering, whether it's from natural catastrophes or economic distress. We have people in other countries who are suffering the onslaught of war and famine. There are some awful things going on in this world right now. And if you are a person of heart, if you are a person of love, it's going to be very difficult to watch those things, to be exposed to those things, and then not to suffer from the full rainbow of emotions: desperation, feeling abandoned, feeling like we have no control, feeling angry. There's so much to deal with, and I think we have to skillfully interact with the world. A few years ago, I was a student of Japanese swordsmanship, kendo, and I loved it. And one of the pieces of advice that my sensei gave to me was, when you hold a sword handle, you can't hold it too tightly and you can't hold it too loosely. You have to hold it like a baby's hand, just right. And I think that's an appropriate way to look at our relationship with the world. Whether it's your family suffering, whether it's your pets that are sick, you can't ignore it, but you can't obsess over it either. I think that's a really appropriate way to be in this world. Now, to be of this world, that's going to increase our suffering. I'm in a world that has taught men and women alike that their bodies should look a certain way, or that their families should look a certain way, or their careers should look a certain way. We're all exposed to ideals that are almost impossible to achieve. If I were to hold on to those ideals, that my body had to be as, six-pack abs and, muscles and all of that, and the reality is I'm going to have a difficult time achieving that. I'm going to suffer. I went through that as a gay man, being taught that I had to be a certain way growing up. And I tried it. I was in the closet until I was 29. I was of the world in those moments. And those moments brought me some of the darkest days that I've ever been through. But while I'm here, I have to be in the world. I don't necessarily need to be of the world. I can take a look at current events, and I can do my best to interact skillfully with the turmoil that I see around myself. But if I obsess over it, I am holding that baby's hand far too tightly. The card that we have for today, Friday, October 18th, comes to us from the Page of Pumpkins. The Page of Pumpkins is the Page of Pentacles, and this is all about the student looking at the world, studying the world, studying ourselves, understanding ourselves. And I'm not sure why I have to tell you this specifically. And remember that I'm speaking to your heart. You're not a failure. You are a success as soon as you were born into this world. The world would convince you that you weren't measuring up. The world would convince you that you're inadequate. But let me tell you right here and right now, the world is capable of tremendous lies. I'll invite you not to believe them, and I'll invite you to see yourself as not only the success that you are, but the success that you would want those you love to see themselves as. Look at the people around you. You would never want them to feel a constant failure, to feel like they weren't measuring up. I do believe that your heart extends an incredible amount of grace to those people that you love. Today, I want to invite you to extend to yourself the grace that you so readily give others.